don't get discouraged if it's just part-time. I've got guys on my team right now, they went and
Sure.
got a second job, but between the two, when we get more hours, they want to come to us because we're
Oh,
able to pay five,
a lot
six,
more.
seven, $8 more than that 18 an hour or 20 an hour thing. What we look for is glowing references.
Sure.
Like people that, oh my dude, he's one of the best hires I ever had, always showed up, never had problems. That's ringing to my ears.
Mowing a yard. There's something about it.
It's great.
But as I'm doing it, I'm like, I could be talking to the neighbor. Their yard looks pretty bad. Or, ooh, I'm seeing, they need emulsion. So like there are a million things I could be selling, right now, but like I can't, right? Because I've got all these other properties to do and not enough time to do it all.
All right. So today we have Miles. Miles, maybe share with us, a 20-second snippet of like where you're at in business and location wise, and how can I help?
Yeah, well, my name is Miles. I run Nobo Landscaping here in Washington State. We are in year one. So we started basically January 1st of 2024. So very new to the industry and looking to grow. And yes, we have questions.
That's very cool. So are you focusing on more like residential or commercial? Like what do you, so like this is a first, have you done something like this before where you got things started or like helped with a business get started?
No, so I am an 11-year insurance agent. And so I still do that, right? So that's actually, I call it my big boy job, right? So I am still an insurance agent, from Monday through Friday. But what got us started was I live in an HOA and 80% of our HOA dues goes to landscapers. And I
Mm,
found myself having to like go over all the work that they do, like the community grass strips in front of the house.
yeah.
So we're paying just an astronomical amount for these landscapers to come out there, not doing a great job. No one in the community's happy that we're paying so much. I was like, hey, like, let me do it. And of course, the board's like, no, 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 you got to be licensed, bonded, and insured. I'm like, okay. 15 minutes later,
Yeah.
So now, I didn't even tell my wife. I walked downstairs. I'm like, oh, hey, by the way, we're a small business now. She's like, what the heck? So ended up getting our HOA. So like my first, account is, an HOA property. I just found I'm like, well, you know what? And it takes me a couple hours to do. I was like, if I'm going to be paying for the insurance on this, let's do a little more. So we started watching some of like the Mike Andes videos of like door hangers and whatnot. And that it just blew up out of control.
Yeah.
And so that took up my whole weekend. And now I've got employees but yes, so we're doing HOA, commercial, and residential.
Wow, dude, that's incredible. It's an incredible story. So that's awesome, man. Very cool.
It's fun. It's super stressful. I was not expecting this to like consume my life, but now that it took off, I'm like to the moon. Let's
Yeah.
go.
It's a great opportunity there. So what would you say is like the biggest maybe bottleneck or if you have some questions that you wrote down, like what are you struggling with that hopefully someone like me who is a little bit further can hopefully help lift you up to get you to that next level?
Yeah. So what I'm running into, so like again, I come from sales. I've been doing this for a long time. Insurance sales is no different than talking to people trying to convince them to let me mow their lawn and do a project. I'm very good at that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so it's just one of those things of like I'm very passionate. I love doing the landscaping piece of it, but ultimately, like I want to be able to have a crew who can do the work. I can focus on the sales, focus on the admin side of things, and just trust a crew to go out and do the work because I know, I can outsell any of the other landscaping companies around. My problem, and to that, this is a side business for me, right? We didn't jump head, feet first into this. I didn't quit my job. It was ultimately like, let's get some extra income so that my wife can be, continue to be a stay-at-home mom, right? So she's not working. We needed a little extra income. So this was that, but I do want it to grow. What I'm running into is hiring reliable people, and a lot of it's my fault because I'm only looking for like weekend work, you know what I mean? And so a lot of these guys, they don't want to work weekends or they just flake or they quit without notice. I've watched all of your videos. So one thing I love is the bonuses and be on time and you get your bonus. So like I want to be able to implement that, and I'm not paying like what these other companies are. A lot of these companies out here, granted this is Washington State, they pay their employees like $18 an hour, which
Mhm.
again, maybe in some places is really good. Over here, that's not, and these are guys who've been working for 10, 15 years, so I start out, with my guys, no experience, $25 an hour, because I need reliability,
Mhm.
and I'm afraid that if I like $18 an hour, they're going to say, no thanks,
Right,
right? They'll
right.
go find something else. So that's where I'm at, because I can't quit my job right today to focus on this. I want to
Mhm.
grow this into something huge that I can do.
Yeah. So, like, what's the long-term vision? You said you wanna grow this thing to something big. Like, what 10-year down the road, like, what is where do you wanna be with it?
I want to be dominating the market. And I know that sounds silly, and you probably hear that all the time.
Mhm.
Where I'm at, I'm outside of like all of like the big city area. So the town that I'm in is growing. There's no one out here right now. There are no landscape companies, right? And
Mhm.
if there are, they're not like legitimate companies. It's just, hey, I got a mower, I'll come and mow your yard, which is kind of how I started out. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to dominate the market of my city. I want people to think, oh, Sultan, it's Nobo Landscaping. I want to dominate my market in my city and then expand. So
Yeah.
I want this to be big. It's just I where I'm at right now, the bottleneck is I can't quit my job, right? Because I make way too much money doing what I do to be able to do that. Again,
Mhm.
sole income, right? And so ultimately 10 years, I would like to be running this thing full time, multiple crews, multiple locations, making a lot of
Yeah.
money.
Okay, yeah. So that's good to know, like, what the end goal is, because that way I can advise you to kind of go which direction, right? The other thing is with your employees and things like that. Do you do P for P, or do you just pay them a base like hourly rate? How are you handling paying your team?
Hourly right now.
Okay.
Because again, we're not working 40 hours a week. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So it's realistically we're working Saturday, Sunday, 8, 9 hours, 8, 10 hours a day. This next year, so I'm in the co-pilot, we're doing all of our, goals for this next year. 2025, like we're hitting the ground running. We're gonna get at least, I'm hoping to get one full time, and then have all the work be done during the week. So I am going to be implementing the P for P.
Yeah, I think that's step 1,
Yeah,
especially with you working another job where Monday through Friday or whatever. What's incredible about P4P and the unlock that people don't realize is, like, you don't have to micromanage them anymore.
right.
When I was doing what you were doing and I was paying them hourly, I can't tell you how much time I seriously wasted sitting there and refreshing the dispatch board throughout my day to be like, are these guys actually moving, or do I need to
Getting it
call them
done.
and be like, guys, what's going on here? Like, you've only
Right.
done 4 lawns and it's been 3 hours. What the heck? Especially if you're not there a lot of the time, or wanting to start to build it out where it is more full time for the crews, but you're also still working a full-time job.
Sure.
That P4P will unlock that for you tremendously. So the quicker and sooner you can implement that, the easier your life will get, because you're not gonna have to micromanage them. And it allows you to sell, which is something you're very, very good at, why the opportunity to come work for you is better than the other Amazon warehouse or other things like that. Don't get discouraged if it's just part time. I've got guys on my team right now that are working, because we're in our slower season. They went and
Sure.
got a second job, and they're working 2 jobs. To them, it's fine. It's normal. It's like, hey, I work over here for 3 days a week, and then I work over there for, the other 3 days a week. But between the 2, when we get more hours, they want to come to us because we're
Oh,
able to pay
a
5,
lot
6,
more.
7, $8 more than that 18 an hour or 20 an hour thing. And
Yeah.
so, you said, like, you have you guys come in and work 8, 9 hours on a Saturday. If they're coming in and making 25 plus an hour, 27, 28 an hour, they're going to want to work on with you on Saturday. And
Right.
when you have the availability that opens up, they're the first ones that are going to be like, "Yep, bye," to the other guy, and come and work for you. So I think, yeah, doing that, implementing P4P will unlock a lot of stuff for you.
Totally. Yeah. No, I've watched all the videos. I like it. Getting the breakdown of exactly how it works, and it's like basically you're getting paid the same, right?
Mhm.
It's just the harder you work, the more you get paid,
Yeah.
right? The slower you work, the less you get paid, right? So I do love that, because I don't want to micromanage. I hate it. No one likes
Yeah.
to micromanage their team, right? And so this is just like the work's going to get done, right? The
Yeah.
quicker you get it
And
done.
yeah, and it completely changes the culture. Tremendously. Like you'll
Yeah.
get guys, it won't do it immediately, but over the weeks and the months of you like it's guys, it's very simple. You come here, you work hard, you get paid more. And like
Right.
that's the motto for everybody. And the ones that don't think like that or that aren't money motivated just eventually fizzle out and leave. And it's like,
Yep.
and eventually like right now, like there's guys on our team that are making 45 an hour,
Wow.
multiple. And it's like, and they're not getting complaints. Like that's the other thing. Well,
That's the
what
other.
they're just gonna cut corners. No, it's not. Because you drill down on the yellow slips and stuff. So yeah, I think that would be an incredible huge game changer. I think for this off season, if you do have more of like downtime, focus your energy on implementing that. You got to figure out the budget hours for your jobs and
Yep.
then really like dialing that in. If you can dial that in, P4P's easier to kind of implement.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah, I think
noticed like going through because it's all math. It's just one big equation. So that's what I've been doing is of like all of our customers. I'm like, oh yep. So this, here's how much we charge. Here's how long it takes. Here's the budgeted hours, and you just add it all up, right? I've got that all ready to go.
awesome. But yeah, I think that would help tremendously, really, really get you to the next level for sure. So
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me right now is just trying to find like reliable employees. I have one right now, and unfortunately, it is one of those things where not to say I have to babysit him, but it just feels like every single week we're out there. He's like, "Do we need the lawnmowers this week?" Of course we do. We
all
mow them.
right. Yeah. So, and I think a lot of people struggle with this problem. So, this is actually a really good topic of like finding good people, right? In our beginning days, we had a 30-day turnover with
I
our
remember you
team.
saying that. Yeah.
30 days. And dude, it was like for 6 months straight, we were just flying through. But what I learned was what a good candidate is and
Yep.
what to ask questions and when to fire because you want to fire quicker than you want to kind of just delay. And there's times I fall back into the trap and I'm like, yeah, but he's good over here and he does this, but he
Yeah.
doesn't do, you know what I mean? So I guess my question would be on that guy that you hired, did you do reference checks on him? The one that you're kind of having trouble with.
No.
All
No, I
right.
didn't. And it was mostly just because it's one of those things of like almost hiring out of like just being
A
desperate.
need. A need. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
And that
100%. Because I'm like, I'm doing all the work and there's not enough time in the day. I'm like, I'll take, a dog at this point. If he can push a lawnmower, I'll take him.
yeah.
So I did not. And I'm starting to realize like, okay, that's adding up.
Yeah, and so if you're starting to realize that, I mean, and it depends on the season, right? Like if this was like beginning of spring rush, in my mind, I'm like, I probably don't want to go through a spring rush with this guy. Just being honest. Like if it's affecting the culture and he's not showing up and you've had multiple conversations, you just know he's not a good fit. You got to micromanage him. He asks silly questions a lot that you've told him multiple times. Like depending on the season, I would say what you could do is kind of find his replacement before you let him go.
Yep.
Like if you already know in your mind, it's like when you get to the point where you have the conversation of like, hey man, like I really care about you. I do, and I want to see you succeed, whether it's here or somewhere else. But like we're all replaceable. And if we don't do our job well, unfortunately, even I, as the owner, am replaceable. The company down the street it will take our clients tomorrow if I don't give it 110% today. Like
100.
when you
Yeah.
get to that point where you're having that conversation in the back of your mind, you need to be like, all right, where's my other options at? Like, should I put out an ad? You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
it gets to that point, what I have found over the last 5 years is it typically very, very, very rarely ever gets better. And as much as we as owners and people like and good people care about them and we want them, dude, we want them to win. I don't want to fire them. I don't.
Right.
But yeah, unfortunately, I have from what I've seen statistically, 99% of them, it just, whatever they're struggling. And I always like you got to approach it right too. Like you don't want to go in and be like, hey man, like why are you late to work for the third time or like whatever. It's like, hey, what's going on at home? It's
Yeah.
not that like typically the problem is not the actual problem. There's stuff they're dealing with that it's like, hey, can I help you out with that before I, slam a hammer here at work or something or make an example out of you? Obviously, I
Right.
would say that, but yeah, but obviously with it being the slower season, you know what I mean? Like maybe you really do need this person, but yeah, I mean, if it's not working out, I would say that's the biggest thing. And you know what? Right now, like you said, it's not a need. So guess what? That person that you are going to find a replacement for you could take 2 months to hire the guy,
Yep.
maybe,
Yeah.
but when you do it very diligently. You call their reference checks. And
Mhm.
they like what we look for is glowing references.
Sure.
Like people, oh my dude, he's one of the best hires I ever had. always showed up, never had problem. That's ringing to my ears. I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
I'm like, all right, this is a good can. And then I call the next reference, and I don't just stop at one, and I go
Mhm.
to the next one. I said, what was he responsible for? Well, he directly reported to me. Okay, that's a plus. So I'm talking to his boss, you know. Did you have any attendance problems? If reliability is the biggest problem you're facing right now, that
That
would
needs
be
to
a
be.
question I would be asking the references. We're very diligent about reliability here at Military Lawn Cuts and Nobo Landscaping.
Yeah.
Do you think that this person would excel in our type of environment of showing up every single day and not leaving work early and not being late? Because if not, we push him out real quick. And I don't want to waste his time. I don't want to waste our time. Do you think that this individual would be a good fit for our culture over here? And if they're like, dude, absolutely, I never had like, I'd pick up the phone and offer him the job right now.
No, that's actually really good. I honestly, because I'm not to that point yet, but that's actually really helpful because I'm like, what do you ask? Right?
Yeah.
What are you asking, the references? Like, is he good? Is he a good employee?
Yeah.
No, so
Yeah.
that's very helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah, and I would just focus on what your needs are, and in the beginning, I will tell you, when you're only have 1 truck or doing under probably 200K, reliability for most people is the biggest thing, the biggest pain point where you hear everybody, "Oh, I can't find workers, I can't find work." Well, it's not them, it's us. It's how do we reflect and change our questions and our approach, and how much time are we spending vetting these people? Because if it's not more than 2 hours, an hour or 2 of, like, doing an interview and, like, thoroughly doing reference checks, then we're shooting ourselves in the foot by blankly hiring somebody or like you said. But there are times, trust me, in the summer when you need 2 legs and 2 arms to push the mower, right? I mean, to get the work done. But
Yeah.
if we do make not as great of a hire as we would like to, it's important that we understand that that could be just temporary also. And on
Yeah.
the back end, we need to be like, oh, I don't want this to stick around in our culture too long. Let me find a replacement, or try to coach and fix it immediately.
Mhm.
That's my always first step. I'm not trying to fire everybody we hire.
Yeah, I think right now it's just seeing where we were at, like, in the season of just like, we have 2 more months. Yes, I'm gonna be bald because I pull all my hair out by the end of the season, but, I'll stick it out with this guy and then start hiring for next year. And it's
Yeah,
worked. My biggest thing, and what I love about him is he shows up. That's the best thing. Like, this is the first business I've ever, ran, but again, I've worked for, one of the more successful insurance agencies in the country. And I have gone through, I think, 11 people this year. And I'm just like, what the heck? Like,
yeah,
I've never had to fire someone before. So that is really, it's not, it's awkward, but it's just like, like you said, I don't want to fire anyone. I want everyone to be successful. I want to be able to help provide. I want to be, like, I want to write you a check, man. Like, I want to be able to do this for you. Like, help me help you. You
hmm
know, I can't want this more for you than you, right? I'm going
yeah,
to pay you more than any of these other landscaping companies. So that's where I kind of bang my head against the wall on a lot of this. Is just like, come on, man. But it's my name on the door. At the end of the
right,
day, it's mine, not theirs.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
just
And us, I will tell you, because I mean, if you're human, like we all are, I don't think anybody should really enjoy firing somebody. You know what I mean?
right.
So like
Yeah.
for us, like that's not like we, our heart beats a little faster, you got to fire this person, all this stuff. And like, I think it's important. Sorry, I had a thought in my brain. Oh man, I had it, but I lost it. Let me come back to that. But
Yeah.
the other thing that I heard Mike, actually Andy, say recently is basically to be more aggressive, which sounds weird, and some people look at that word as like intense, but like being aggressive and like swift with speed. I had a we had a general manager here at our second location that had a similar mindset of we had a team member that he basically should have been fired. He was constantly like late and stuff like that. But he kind of wrote it out. It was the end of the season and stuff like that. And he ended up leaving the general manager. He resigned. And
Mm,
so I plugged the new GM into that system, and like all of a sudden the entire location is like now turning around. The close ratio is up to like 45, 50%, which
mm,
it was down to like 25,
yeah.
23%. Like all the work's getting done. We're not losing any revenue. And so us not letting that person go, if they're really not a good fit, we are doing them a disservice. We are delaying them going exceeding somewhere else. And if we really know they're not going to succeed inside of our organization, the quicker and the faster we just shake hands, go our separate ways, the better.
Yep.
That's what I've learned. And that was my second point that I forgot earlier. But yeah, we're doing them a disservice. And if we really truly care about these people, which I do, I really genuinely do. Like even the people that I fired, I'm like, man, I really hope they find a good spot. Just keeping them around in our organization where they're not going to excel is we're not helping them,
Mm-mm.
unfortunately. And so actually by letting them go in a nice way, it's like, hey man, your services aren't needed here anymore. You're just not a good fit. We're actually helping them go find their way, man. You know what I mean? Because it's just sometimes not there.
Well, and of just saying same thing like on Mike Andy's, because I think it was like a whole show on like here's how to fire people, because I think he had like a lawsuit, right? With one of his guys, because he was very specific on here's why I'm firing you, and you shouldn't do that. So it was one of those things like I genuinely care. Like with one of the guys, like he had a brand new baby. It was like super hot in the summertime. They didn't have AC. We got him an AC unit. Like I care, we're human, right? And so he just it was like against his religion to show up to work, and so we had to let him go. And so I watched that episode that morning before I let him go. But I was just like, you're a good worker. And he really was, but he had to call out for anything. Too many birds in the front yard. I can't be in today, And so I was like, you're a hard worker. I think you really are going to excel, just not here. And we shook hands and went away, because I was like, now I'm like, oh my gosh, that just unlocked a whole new fear of people suing you for firing them.
Yeah. And then like because like I struggle with that too, but dude, honestly, in the nicest way, and I've had this conversation with my wife too, because she's the general manager at Aubrey and she doesn't like firing people. And I've had to learn this over the last 5 years, because I really do care about people just like you. There comes a point where sometimes we care too much about the people. And we get too invested in there, and it sounds so psychological, like weird, because it's like we started our company to help people. Like that's what we want to do. We want to provide good jobs. We want to create a career advancement opportunities. But there does come a time, especially in the early days, where sometimes like I found myself caring too much about the person and not looking at it like a business structure. Take the NFL, for example, right? Do you watch football? So like if you have a running back and his numbers are continually dwindling year over year and they're just constantly going back, he used to get like 8 yards per rush each touch, but now he's down to like 2.5 yards a touch. From a pure business standpoint, he's not producing results. And as much as he may have a family, as much as he may have people that he's caring for, they got to cut him. Unfortunately, they're running a business, and the goal is to, win a Super Bowl, obviously, and build a big successful franchise. And so we have to kind of look at it in that same way, and sometimes it's tough, man. Like, and I've told people too, when I've fired them, I'm like, dude, outside of work, I'll hang out with you all day. You're a cool person. I like you. But when it comes to business and being here on time, we just can't have it, dude. Like there's 2 or 3 times a week you're calling off or being late. Like it's not going to work out.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So this next year, I think we're trying to focus on growth, right? Because obviously this year, I was not expecting really much of anything, right? It started off with just doing our HOA, and then we got some, residentials, a couple of commercials, so I wasn't expecting, like, my wife and I, when this started out, I was like, well, maybe like in a year or two, maybe get 1 employee. And it was like 2 months into it, we're like, okay, we're in over our heads, like we gotta, like I was having to take time off of work to do, like, to finish up some of these projects. I was like, can't do that, so it was like 2 months in when we started like the actual hiring process. So, but at the same time, like I want to keep my guys busy, I am okay, not to say losing money, like the whole point of this is to make money, but I'm like, if it means that I have to pay guys, and that's an expense for me, that's fine. I want to grow this thing, right? So, what we're trying to do, we're doing all the business planning and, setting all of our goals for 2025, because this year, like, again, I know you're talking to guys from, 2, 4, 500,000, $1 million in revenue, which is just awesome. I'd love to get there someday. We're going to touch pretty darn close to 100 at the end of the year. And it was just kind of like, it fell into our lap. So like to us, that's really cool, you know. And I know there's a lot of small. I watch these videos and I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, like 500,000. Like, how in the heck do you do that? You
Mhm.
know, so like having a perspective of just like, I know we didn't make much. 100,000 is nothing to shake a stick at, you know, but only working 1 to 2 days a week on it, I'm happy. But now, you know, I don't want to be complacent with that. So for 2025, we're trying to double everything, you know. So we've got all the bids out to HOAs, commercial properties. You know, I've got like a stack of like 5,000 door hangers here for different things. Like, we're gonna try and just blast this thing wide open. So my biggest thing here, Will, and I might just be like my biggest enemy. I might be the one that's in my way
Mhm.
right now. But I'm seeing, like, the last guy that you had on, for the life of me, I cannot remember his name, but he's like, oh yeah, you know, it's me and my buddy, and we're doing like $250,000 a year. I'm like, how? You know, how are you doing this? And then I realized, well, they're probably working 5 days a week,
Yeah.
right? It's them. They're doing the work. I'm not. So I think I'm just in my way. I have that mindset. I want to blow this thing up, but I'm just like, how do I get, like, my goal on, I've got a piece of paper right here. My goal is 250. You
Mhm.
know, am I just in my way right now because I work, you know, a full-time job?
I would say that you working a full-time job is a piece of it. Like it is constricting you probably from growing significantly because think about it. If you spent that 8 hours a day or 9 hours a day, whatever you are at work, on your business,
Yeah.
handing out your flyers, calling your commercial clients, how much more revenue could you create, right? And so what I would say is like maybe is there a hybrid way where you can maybe cut back some of your hours in the insurance agency and be like, hey man, instead of working 5 days a week, can I go to a 4 day work schedule? Opens
Mm,
up a whole extra day for you. Or maybe you do half days, or maybe they don't want that, but then you might have to look at, like, obviously you'd have to kind of weigh out how much money you would need top line and bottom line to step away if you're supporting a family and all that too,
yeah.
but I think that would be the most smoothest transition. Or can you look at other opportunities where it's like, hey, you may make get a pay cut at your sales agency right now, and you're doing sales, but if you go over to this other place, you're only working maybe 70% of what you were working at your previous company, and you're getting a
True.
pay cut, but the time is the most valuable thing. And what you told me earlier on this call is the long-term goal is to build this thing to be very successful and have
Yeah.
potentially multiple locations. And like this is it. And so if the sales gig on the agency side is not it, it's okay if you take a pay cut or lose some hours so that way you can focus on your business.
Yeah, and that's what I'm slowly and dreading, you know. But I think that is the realization of just like, if you know, if I want this thing to take off, it's up to me, you
Yeah.
know. Because how I try to not write it off, but I'm like, oh, my solution is I'll hire a, you know, general manager, and I'll have someone manage it, right? That way I can focus on, you know, still doing my job, you know, because, you know, you got family, kids, you're paying for insurance, life,
Yep.
it's not cheap out here, you know.
Yeah.
It's really, really not, you know. So the income that I'm getting in right now also kind of helps fund the business as well, you
Mm,
know.
I
So
gotcha.
it's just one of those things of like, okay, where is my break even? Like, how much
Mhm.
revenue do I need to be making to quit and go full time in this? Even if,
Yeah.
heaven forbid, I had to like let employees go and do the work myself, but now
Mhm.
I've got 7 days a week I could do it compared to two. You
Yeah.
know, obviously I don't want to do that because I love what I do, and I've been doing it for over a decade, you know, but I love this landscaping thing too. This is pretty great. So I'm
Yeah.
just trying to figure out 2025 of just like, okay, do I hire, you know, a general manager and, you know, pay that for this year, but still grow, or like,
Yeah.
that's
It's
my bottleneck.
Yeah, there's a couple of things in there to kind of piece together. From my experience, and this is me, you could be different. You could maybe watch a video or talk to a mentor and then like implement things. For me, I gotta do it before I can like hand it to somebody and be like, okay, because when I do it, I'm viewing it like a business owner, right? Like, let's say, for example, you said like you were gonna hire a GM. I need to be the GM for like 3 months to 6 months to learn what the best way is to schedule, what the best way is to manage a crew, what the best way is to cut a lawn. So that way, when I hand it to a general manager, I'm like, look, just do this, this, and this. Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if I don't have that direction, direction or that comfortability because I've sat in a hot seat. I'm just like, here's the GM position, make
Good
it
luck.
profitable. And they're going to be
Yeah.
like, how? And I'm going to
How?
be like, I don't know, watch YouTube videos, watch Will Kelly or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, it's very difficult. I need to sit in the seat, right? The other thing that I would tell you is I spoke to a guy. He had, I think, like 2 or 3 kids, and he was just getting his business started. He actually interviewed with us and was like, "Hey, Will, I want to own my own business one day." Super ambitious guy, just like you. And he was like, but I got a family to feed and all this stuff. And he was a hustler. Like he went out and like was really good at sales. And I'm like, look, don't let those circumstances of like having to like feed the family and everything pull you back from making the leap. What I
Right.
would tell you is you should use that. In fact, flip it in the brain as fuel and be like,
Yeah.
this is exactly why I need to get backed up into a corner. And like the only way out is through this thing that I'm pursuing because I have to feed my family back at home. And
Mm-hmm.
if we take that mindset, it's like the hunters back in the day, right? Like they went out and hunted food for their family.
Yeah.
There was no other option. Like if they didn't get a kill and bring back food to the table, nobody's eating.
No
And
one's
so
eating.
it's not a question of if, it's a question of when I'm going to get my next hunt. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Oh,
And so
100%.
I think a lot of people in their minds, me including, trust me, me including, like would latch on to like a plan B or a plan C. But there does come a time strategically. I'm not saying just walk away from your job tomorrow. Blaze, that's not what I'm saying at all. But
I'll let you know how that goes.
yeah. But obviously you would want to try to time it right, where maybe you were going into a spring rush and then like that for us, March 1st is when it starts. That
Yep.
February, it's like, I'm going full time this year. I have to get it to 300,000 to, do what I need to do. And,
Yeah.
or 400,000 or 500,000, whatever it is, but what you would want to do is kind of look at what you're making at your job. And then obviously, you would have to look at the expenses of the business. Hopefully you're tracking some of that fuel costs and the wage costs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just figure out like, is there a way you can make it work? Or like I said, because you said the end goal was to be full-time landscaping, do that hybrid where even if you do get a pay cut, that's okay. This is not what's going to pay you guys and feed you 10 years from now. So the quicker and the fastest and the more aggressive we can get over to the landscaping side of things and really have more time and energy to spend on it and figure out my budgeted hours and implement my P4P and building a hiring system so it's more sustainable where we're getting better talent, I would say that's probably the move, is to start to shift more of our time and energy over there,
Yeah, so that's what, like seeing the breakdown of like, well, okay, so here's what like my family needs, right? Or here's what our budget is. Here's what, our monthly expenses are every month, right? So I know how much I make right now, and with the landscape, and we're basically seeing probably 300,000 to 350 in revenue, and hopefully as little expenses as possible
for next
would
year.
no for me to be able to
Oh,
quit and go into this full time.
yeah. And so, okay, that's good. That's good that you figured that out.
That was the first
Because
thing I
again,
figured out.
that takes a whole lot of math on the back end. So
Oh yeah, that was
okay. That's good.
days.
All right.
That was days of figuring it out, because I'm like, if I want to do it, I want to jump in, but I need to know, like, I'm not going to
Yeah.
foreclose
So
on my house because I'm an idiot.
right. So what I will tell you too, just a frame of mindset also, at $300,000 to $400,000, you will be doing a lot of the physicalityness certain parts of the year.
Right.
So just understand that where it's maybe not as busy, or maybe the off season, or fall where things kind of slow down a little bit, you will still have to be out in the field because you're just doing like mowing, property
Yeah.
cleanup, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, which is good. And so, the unlock going from 100 to 300 and 100 to 400. And I will tell you this because I am literally doing this with our second location right now, because we did
Yeah.
118,000 this year.
Okay.
The conversation that I will have with my GM, sitting him down at the beginning of the year, this is the mindset for the first like 4 to 6 months of the year. We have to take your mindset of doing the work and throw it out the window. We need to get people to go and do the work. So if you got one truck, how many trucks do you have?
Just one.
Okay, so you're probably going to need a second one to get up to 300,000 to 400,000.
Sure.
So if you're going to ramp that up, you would get your truck right before spring rush, and you would hire 4 people, 2 in each seat.
Okay.
And then you are all your day, more than half of your day, every single day must be spent on selling,
Yeah.
selling, selling, selling. That's it. If you're not driving around and doing estimates, if you're not calling the ones you just did today and say, I have availability on Thursday, can I get you in, or Friday? Which day would you like? If you're
Yep.
not doing that for 4 to 6 hours a day, we're in the wrong.
Yep.
Every day, 5 days a week, 4 to 6 hours is spent on selling or sending out an upsell email or driving from our current properties and be like, yep, they need mulch. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I swung by your house today. I know we mowed it yesterday, but I noticed you need mulch. 4 to 6 hours of that, more 60 to 70% of our day, focus on sales.
Yeah.
And then obviously the other 30% is hiring and then managing. Now that would be temporarily for the first 4 to 6 months. You're gonna grow and you're gonna scale, and all you're gonna do for 6 months is just sell, sell, sell all day
Yeah.
long. You're used to that. You're good at that. And then after that, there's not gonna be a massive growth, and that's when you really start to like systemize things because you just tripled the business.
Right.
And maybe you need to get rid of an employee or two because they just not a good fit, and then you get back in one of the hot seats in the truck
Mm.
while you're still selling maybe 2 or 3 days a week, but the other
Sure.
couple days you're maybe doing some training with the guys and getting them up, better, just better all around. I would
Yeah.
say that is the recipe. And most people, well, you're doing the work on Saturdays and Sundays, right?
Yeah.
With them.
Yep.
Okay. So then you are experiencing that hands-on field portion, but most people, they don't switch this over in their brain going from 100 to 300, and they get stuck at like 200, and they're just like, man, I'm working my brains out and all this stuff. And they're working 12, 14-hour days. But like their mindset has to shift from like doing the work. I'm now a salesperson. I
Yep.
must be doing more than half of my day spent diligently selling work.
Yeah.
And that's what will get you to that unlock of the
100%.
next.
And that's where I feel like when I'm out doing it, again, I love it. I think there's something about just like mowing a yard, right? There's something about it,
It's great.
But as I'm doing it, I'm like, I could be talking to the neighbor. I could be talking to, their yard looks, pretty bad. Or, ooh, I'm seeing, they need a mulch. And so like, I think just being in sales, it's hard for me to turn that off. So the whole time I'm doing the work, I'm like, ooh, we should be talking to them about, their fence, or, ooh, we should be, talking to them. But I'm like, I don't have enough, hours in the day. Like there are a million things I could be selling, right now, but like I can't, right? Because I've
Yeah.
got all these other properties to do and not enough time to do it all.
Yeah.
So that's what I
Yeah.
love about this is like it's really turned me on to like, oh, yep, there's a mulch install. Oh, we could do some weeding. Oh, we could do this.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm like really excited to like get guys out in the field to be doing the work. And then also teaching them like, because with Copilot, you can do the upsell, right? So it's
Mhm.
just like, oh yeah, hey, Miss Jones's yard, she's covered in weeds. Let's, do the upsell, sends over here, and we can do it. So I want to be doing 8-10 hours of, the sales and going around knocking on doors. That's why I'd love the two trucks, 2 crews, guys going out there doing the work. I'll focus on the sales.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, honestly, let's say you only have one truck right now.
Yeah.
Spring rush comes around, you buy another truck, you logo it up, put the equipment on it, and you're like, wait, and you hire these people, and you got 2 people already. You're like, yeah, but I don't have enough work for the other 2. Trust me, your job will be selling so much, you're going to need their hands on deck in a month from now.
Right.
And if they all show up, you can put 2 of them on flyer duty and help you out.
Sure.
And triple your production on like selling jobs. And putting 2 people on flyer duty for an entire week, you're gonna hand out thousands of flyers.
Thousands.
And you're
Yeah.
gonna get no, not thousands of calls. You're gonna get a lot of calls. And from that,
Yeah.
you're gonna convert 20, 30, 40, 50 customers. So you're going to get the work. It's inevitable. It's spring rush. It's the gold rush. It's where all the money's made. That's where we pump all of our marketing dollars. We don't market in fall and winter. It doesn't. That's where you get the best return. And so, doing that will get you out of the field at least for the first half of the year during the spring rush and stuff, and just focusing on selling. But that I would say is the big unlock. And you have that gift, Miles. You have that gift because you've been doing it. And what's amazing is if there's any gift that you want as a business owner, it's selling. Selling
Sure.
it's the blood of everything, because if you
Right.
need more money, you sell more. If you got a bad employee, you sell more jobs to get more work, and then you can pay a better team member. Like it really does fix like 99% of the problems in all the businesses is selling.
Well, and I like your that take on it's almost like burning the ship, right? Of just like, you know what, we have to buy another truck, even though I know today I do not have the work lined up. Hiring two more guys and buying another truck is going to light that fire to get more jobs, to get them busy. Because I think that's my problem right now is I don't want to do unnecessary spending, but I think it is just in that mindset of just like, well, do it, buy it, hire, and then get your butt in gear to keep them busy.
Yeah, even if you need to lower your prices just a tad bit to
Yeah.
sell the work. Hey, there's times where we had like 30 pending estimates in the queue, and I'm like, and we need work. Like I'm sending people home. I sent out a mass text to those 30 people. I said, hey, if you booked it by the end of the day, I'll take 20% off or 15% off. Right?
Oh,
Like
smart.
just to get the work scheduled, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then from there you can start to kind of raise prices and things like that. But yeah, between the two, mowing versus going and selling a job, selling the work has higher value. You are doing something more than just you can pay somebody 18 an hour to push a lawnmower.
Right.
You, as much as you and I enjoy doing it,
That is not
it's
where that's not money well spent,
yeah,
for us
you
us
you
doing.
you have a higher lever that you can pull in your business that will get you to 300, 400 way faster. Every
Yeah,
minute we spend behind a mower is you're now saying no to another sale that you could be making.
definitely. I will ask, maybe can't get into too many details, but as we're getting into this next year, I did not spend a ton of time this year, and mistakes were made as there always will be, doing a lot of advertising in the spring. I think I did like one round, and which again, it was just me at the time, and that's all I could really like handle. But like I think our season starts pretty much at the same time. It's like early March, right? Maybe if we're lucky, late February. Like when are you like advertising? When are you, really knocking things out, for the advertising for the spring?
Are you wanting to target mowing? Are you targeting weed control? Are you targeting like landscaping?
Probably the lawn maintenance services.
Okay, so if you're targeting mowing services, you would want to do it about 1 week prior to the grass beginning to come out of dormancy. So
Okay.
for us, February, probably 23rd. February 23rd, I would start hitting those flyers. It's still cold during that time,
Sure.
but the non-procrastinator customers, which are your best ones, are signing up during that time.
Yeah.
And then majority of the way, and then what you would do is literally for the next 4 weeks, pound those door hangers every day, as many people as you can, handing them out. That's why I said over hire.
Yeah.
Even if you got one truck and two workers and that's all the work you got, over hire, get that second truck set up, hand them a box of flyers and say, guys, you guys are going to hand out flyers for like a week or two. And by that time, we're going to be so busy, we're going to be mowing a lot of lawns.
Yeah.
So it's just temporary for the
May I
flyers.
ask then, so my thought, and again, I don't know like how many cities or how far out you guys go. Like where I live, like literally on this one hill of where I'm at in this podunk little town, they're building like 1,000 new construction houses.
Mhm.
All of which are in HOAs, all of which are very strict on, like it has to be perfectly manicured. You cannot have one single dandelion. Like we get a lot of money from these guys. So
Yeah.
my question is like, how many times are you putting door hangers on the same house? Like, are you only just doing it the one time? Because to me, I'm like, should I be like hitting that door like once a month? Like, should I just be doing rounds like once a month just so they get the hint, or no?
Like if you I have heard people do that before. Generally we don't, though.
No.
We would prefer, we do target the new build communities
Yeah.
because they haven't seen us yet. But and then like every year they're gonna get hit by us. Every year. At
Sure.
least one. At least one flyer. We try to hit all of our territory with
Okay.
a flyer in the springtime if we're trying to grow and things
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, we don't normally hit the same neighborhood multiple times.
No.
Yeah, because by the time we go through it, and I would rather have each house get at least our flyer, and on their door they have to physically pull it off and it's in their hand. I would
Sure.
rather have that to a lot of people than a quarter of that with the same person getting it 3 times.
Multiple. Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, and we do, it's crazy. Like we do a 7-mile radius,
Oh,
thousands,
okay.
tens of thousands of
Yeah.
HOA homes.
Oh, yeah.
So by the time we hit every house with one flyer, oh my goodness, it's like it's been
You
3
don't
or
want to do
4
that again.
weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
You're like,
like
"Oh, great," and we get to start all over from scratch. No, that makes sense. Because, well, I
yeah.
think the other thing that I was thinking was do that and then maybe do, like, some EDDMs,
If it,
right?
what which but and what you communicated to me is you're not in like a big city, right? So you're
No.
out more in the suburb-ish areas where maybe you don't have tens of thousands of HOA homes. Maybe you only have maybe 5,000 homes. And if you could hit all 5,000 in a couple of weeks, that would make sense to me to hit them again,
Mm,
as long as like the spring and the gold rush is still going on. We have
yeah.
about a 6 to 8 week window. It's about 2 months. If you
Okay.
start 1 week on that February 23rd and you go all through March and majority of April, typically by the last week of April, those are kind of like your guys. It's like, dude, why didn't you call me 3 weeks ago? Your lawn's getting a little long. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
that window right there is just as many flyers as you can getting out. And if it
Okay.
means you hit them twice, you hit them twice.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good to know. Because I mean, that's what I'm trying to do is like I'm trying to hit every single one of these homes. I want them to see. And again, I think the nice thing is if you want to leave all of these houses, there's thousands upon thousands just on this small little hill. You have to go down this hill to a stoplight. I'm like, I'm about to put up billboards, and
Yeah.
whatever I can because I'm like that. Like everyone's gonna see that kind of deal. So I'm just like, I want our name, of just like, oh, you know what? I want lawn services. Boom. Oh, that's right. Call Noble Landscaping.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do is just create like the awareness that we're here. Like we did the like little city parade last year. That was awesome. I got a
Yeah.
4-year-old. She's passing out candy and business cards to everyone. It was a great time.
Yeah, yeah, and you can get like, you order 50 or 100 of those small like yard stake signs with the
Yep.
metal H signs and put them on a few corners during that time or whatever. But yeah, they say either I think it was 7 or 21 times touch points until a customer like when they think lawn care, they're like, oh, Noble Landscaping,
Yep.
right? It takes at least at a minimum 7, could take like up to like 21 times where they see the truck, they get a door hanger, they see your sign, they see you on Google when they search, right? Like that's already 4. And then the next year they see your truck again, they get another door hanger, and then eventually it's like they'll start to call you more, and you create that brand awareness. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah. I'm
um,
just trying to build it up because the town west of us,
mhm.
right, is bigger, right? And when you drive into that town, there's a Chevron gas station like right on the corner, 20, 30, landscaping trucks.
Yeah,
There
that's a
there are
great
a
stop.
there's a ton out that way, but they're not making their way out this way yet. And so to me,
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm trying to just make it known, and like not to say dominate, but dominate this market. So when they do inevitably get out here, when all the new construction's done, it's like, oh nope, we already got our lawn services taken care of by these guys.
Yeah, yeah. Now you're in a really good opportunity, Miles, to really capitalize on that area before the other guys kind of move in. I've got like a couple minutes left here. So, is there anything else while you've got me that you would like to ask, or anything else I can help you out with that you can think of?
You know what? I've got 5 million questions. But for the sake of 3 minutes, I would love just like any bit of advice. Like that's what I'm looking for. Is just like if you're thinking back to when you were brand spanking new, anything you would have done different, things you would have hit harder. Like what would help someone like me? Obviously, kind of a different situation, but of just like man, what would be like your biggest not takeaway, but piece of advice for someone?
I think I lean more off the top of my head to more of tactical stuff
Yeah.
of just things that I know. Do you have your logos on your truck?
No, but we're getting them. Yeah, we've already got that scheduled to get those
That's
put
the
on.
first thing I would do before
Oh
handing
yeah.
a single flyer out.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
When I sit down and I look at my customer acquisition costs for the last 5 years outside of our website, it's the
Sure.
lowest one. It's the lowest one.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, and we spend $800. We get the logo on big on the doors,
Yep.
the website, and the phone number on the sides.
Okay. Yeah, I've
So
seen your trucks. I love them. That's when I was like, okay, yep, we're doing that. I love that.
yeah, that will get you a significant great return. You do it one time and it lasts for 3, 4, 5 years on the truck. So you don't have
Sure.
to do it every year. I would say that as far as services that you're offering, is your funnel really wide? Like, do you have a lot of different services, or are you really dialing it into just mowing and just flower beds? Like sod, tree trimming, paver patios. I mean, are you doing everything under the sun, or what are you thinking?
No, no. I mean, trying to read as many books. I just downloaded that Audible book that you were talking about on that last video. Of course, if, I can't remember it, but I'm really trying to just like be a niche,
Mhm.
right? Because I don't do pavers. I don't do pavers yet, kind of deal. So we're really trying to focus on the lawn maintenance, mulch installs, weeding. Stuff like that. The tree trimming and stuff. So we're not doing like the big projects yet because I don't have the manpower, so right
Mhm.
now it is kind of the smaller niche.
Okay, so then yeah, I would say stick with that. Stay
Okay.
simple scales, especially if you like you said we want to do 500,000, have multiple locations. Simple will allow that. And then the other thing too, I know we talked about Copilot and their upsells. A lot of people want to go out and like find the next new shiny customer, but hopefully you have a CRM database that you're capturing leads now
Mhm. Yeah.
with people that have been interested in your position in your job. We need to be hitting them like once a month with something like flower beds. Right now for us, it's about to be fall time for leaf cleanup season.
Oh
So,
yeah.
we're sending out, hey, we're doing leaf cleanup, leaf removal services, just farming those constantly
Hmm.
before going out necessarily and like getting door hangers and all that stuff. But like, I'm not saying to not do door hangers. I'm just saying like, if you're not like, when's the last time, like, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
No, please.
if you haven't sent out an upsell email in the last 30 to 45 days, like we need that's probably something we need to do this week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To help kind of fill the schedule. And I think a lot of people miss that. Also, a lot of people don't use that feature of the upsell on the briefcase when you're on there, when you're there to mow,
Hmm.
like, and they need mulch. Are we actually sending them a text right now and saying, hey, we just finished your mowing services. We noticed you need mulch. Again, that's even when you find yourself out in the field helping out next year, which hopefully should be rarely, only 20% of your day, maybe 10,
Yeah.
20%, especially when you're selling a lot.
Put it out to the universe. Thank you.
But at least you're still in sales mode. You're like, yep, I'm
Yes.
going to send this text. Oh, okay. Next mow. All right. They need a bush trim. Boom. And like we're
Yeah.
still selling all the time. And
Yeah.
most people are just trying to chase the next new lead, but they're not like, dude, there's probably, I mean, for us at our new location, there's almost 300 people that have called us this year that like over the last year and a half that asked for services that we're just constantly farming, and like trying to push again, 7 to 21 touch points.
Yeah.
These emails are part of the touch points. So next spring, all of a sudden, you're gonna get this wave of customers and be like, "Whoa, where'd this come from?" Well,
What happened?
you've been
That's
talking to them
that is true.
about
That
leaf
is very true.
removals and other things. So
No, I love it. No, thank you so much. I mean, we're small, and I keep telling myself because I can see it. I'm like, I think my engine is too big right now, for the size of the car. And to me, I'm like, I'm trying to slow down because like I know where I want this to go, but I know it's got to be baby steps. So I really appreciate all the help, all the advice. I watch all your videos. Like I'm constantly pausing YouTube videos and like scrolling in, just like, okay, what's you got over there? Okay, cool. I'm gonna buy some bulk string, bulk this. So man, you've really helped me, more than you know. I really appreciate you having me on and everything that you do for the lawn maintenance, landscape, and community. Huge.
yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the kind words, Miles, and
You didn't
that's
pay
all
me
the
to
goal.
say that, by the way.
Yeah, no, that I get great fulfillment on helping other people,
Yeah.
and I
Oh,
appreciate
I can
you
tell.
jumping on and allowing me to record so that way I'm confident this video is going to help a lot of people that are just getting started in their first year wanting to
Yeah.
take it to that next level. I mean, they have the same questions, and for you to come on and like have that humility of like, hey, I don't know everything, but let me seek guidance and things like that, dude. It's gonna, yeah, you're gonna crush it, and
I
and
appreciate
I'm I'm confident you'll hit me up. We'll do a coaching call in like a year from now, and you'll be like, dude, I got the 2 trucks.
Oh yeah.
We're cranking it.
I'll,
We're
I'll keep
pushing
you posted.
400.
End of next year, I'll give you the heads up of what's going on. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I watch all your stuff. You can't make enough. I tell you that. I eat it up, man. Everything you put out there is super helpful. So thank you again so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what 2025 throws our way.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I appreciate it, Miles. Have a great Saturday, and I'll see you.
Awesome, man. Take care.
All right, we'll see ya.